All right, we want to open up. I know I haven't touched on your favorite holiday this week, but I'm going to touch on it today. A lot of your kids are probably, some of your kids are probably weeping about Santa Claus. We're going to discuss the origin of Santa Claus, and we're going to discuss several things. I want to open up with Daniel chapter 7 and verse 25.
The book of Daniel, chapter 7 and verse 25. And he shall speak great words against the Most High.
The he here is the last ruling empire on earth, which is your friendly neighborhood white man. America, particularly America. Read it again.
And he shall speak great words against the Most High.
So that's from his school system, his political system, his science system. He speaks great words against the Most High, meaning whatever this Bible says, this man would speak against everything this Bible says. It says, and he shall speak great words against the Most High. Go ahead.
And shall wear out the saints of the Most High.
And shall wear out the saints of the Most High. Let's prove who the saints are. Give me Psalms 149:14, I think it is. Or 148:14. One of those two.
The book of Psalms, chapter 148 and verse 14.
This is to prove who the saints are. Because everybody in the world says they, as long as they believe in Jesus, they are a saint. Go ahead.
He also exalteth the horn of his people, the praise of all his saints.
See that? Go ahead.
Even of the children of Israel.
So the saints are the children of Israel. I'm going to say it again. The saints are the children of Israel. Now let's go back to Daniel 7. Verse 25, one more again.
And he shall speak great words against the Most High.
So the he is the so-called white man, beginning with America. Go ahead.
And shall wear out the saints of the Most High.
And he wore us out in slavery. He wore us out in slavery. How did he wear us out? He wore out our nationality so bad that we don't remember who we are. He wore out our culture, our heritage, our land of origin. He wore us out economically. He wore us out financially. He wore us out in all means, by all means. Go ahead.
And think to change times and laws.
And that's what I wanted. And think to change times and laws. One of the times that has been changed is every year we have what's called daylight savings time, where you turn the clock back an hour and or you turn the clock ahead an hour. That's this place. America does that. Another thing that they have done in changing laws is that God says the new year begins in the springtime when you read Deuteronomy 16:1. The white man has taught us in America, no, the new year begins in the dead of winter, January 1st. That's how they changed laws, times, and laws as well. God also taught us that marriage is between male and female. Society, America has said no, it's no longer male and female. It can be between same sex. Male and male, female and female. So that helps us to understand and think to change times and laws. Go ahead.
And they,
the they is the saints, which are the Israelites,
shall be given into his hand.
Shall be given into the hands of America, this last empire on earth,
until a time and times and the dividing of time.
Approximately 350 years. Time is singular, time is plural, and dividing of time, which is half. About 350 years. From there, get me Titus, New Testament now, New Testament. Titus chapter 1, verse 14.
The book of Titus, chapter 1 and verse 14. Not giving heed to Jewish fables and commandments of men that turn from the truth.
Read that again.
Not giving heed to Jewish fables.
Y'all know what the term Jewish. Can we look up the suffix, please? Ish. ISH in Google. Ish is a suffix. Let's look that up. We often use this word. The media uses it all the time, so much that it's become normal. Do you know the word Jewish is one time in the Bible? Right here. You got it for me?
Dictionary.com got it.
Ish. Okay. All right. See, number two, I'm going to just get to the point. It says a suffix used to form adjectives from other adjectives with the sense of somewhat, or rather, as in oldish, reddish, sweetish. Look at number one, I'll read that too. A suffix used to form adjectives from nouns with the sense of belonging to, after the manner of having the characteristics of, like, addicted to, inclined, or tending to. So when the white man says he's Jewish, he's letting you know he's somewhat a Jew. He's not the original. That's what this suffix means. So when he's in his speech, he's telling you he's Jewish. We don't pick it up and realize he's telling us he's not the original. He's telling us he's a convert. But society doesn't pick that up. The scholars know, but the masses of people do not know. So back to Titus 1:14, please.
Titus 1:14. Not giving heed to Jewish fables.
Not giving heed to Jewish fables. Jewish fables. So now, Christmas is a Jewish fable. Why do I say that? Because Christmas, allegedly, in Christianity, they teach us that that is the birth of Jesus. Jesus is a Jew, right? He was of the tribe of Judah. He is of the tribe of Judah. Read it again.
Not giving heed to Jewish fables.
Not giving heed to Jewish fables.
And commandments of men.
So the Jewish fable we want to touch on right now is Christmas, because that is a Jewish. Another word for fable is fairy tale or lie. Not giving heed to Jewish lies. Because Jesus Christ was not born December 25th. Ask a Christian, challenge him. Challenge your mama. Prove the scripture. Where is it that Jesus was born December 25th? In the dead of winter. What scripture is that? You will not find it in the Bible. The only reference to when Christ was born, give me that Luke 2:40. Start there and go down. This is the only reference to what time period Christ was born.
The book of Luke, chapter 2 and verse 41. Now his parents went to Jerusalem every year at the feast of the Passover.
Passover subject, go ahead.
And when he was 12 years old, they went up to Jerusalem after the custom of the feast.
So it's telling you Christ was 12 on the Passover. So that's letting you know when he was born. You mean Christians never read this? Do you mean your friendly neighborhood white man never read this? Oh, he read this all right.
You mean the Pope don't know about it?
You mean the Pope don't know about that? Oh, he knows about it all right. But he goes, no, make it December 25th. So now, Abiel, let me see where I want to go first. I want you to pay close attention to me. Pay close attention to me. You brothers and sisters in the UK, pay close attention to me. We like to travel. I know, and a lot of times when you ask a sister where she want to travel, she goes, I want to go to Europe. It's always where the white man is. I want to go to Europe. You ever notice that? They
All
never
the
say Egypt, Africa,
Arabia.
no place where people of color. It's always where the white man is. Let's go over there to Europe. So, my brothers and sisters in Holland, we're going to talk about you for a second. Give me the video, Santa's Elves. We are that one right there. Let's pay attention. It's very short, so I hope your kids don't get spirits on them. Just pay attention. We're talking about the elves just for a second. Put the link up. And if your kids get spirits on them, apologize. Mommy, we're going to have Santa Claus this year. No, we're not. This is just an illustration. I grew 3 years in this now. I'm aged. So now, from there, it brought back memories to many of us in our youth, when we were young and we saw that and we would dance and cheer and run through the house around the tree singing that song. And don't say y'all didn't sing that. Maybe in Jamaica or Trinidad y'all didn't sing it.
Sing it.
But America, we sang that song. And we danced and hooped and hollered. And don't say you didn't either. You know you did. I watch the American Black. They don't be lying too. No, I never.
No, I didn't say it wasn't over here, but I don't remember.
Oh, okay.
I do know about those elves, though. I heard about that thing.
Abiel, give me the article about Holland. I want the article about right there. In Holland, Santa doesn't have elves. He has slaves. So now, What I want y'all to know is that Christmas, so-called Christmas, became a national holiday in America in 1870. 1870, it became a national, listen to my words, a national holiday. Some people celebrated before that, but in America it was, what's the word? Officially nationalized as a official holiday. Now, some people, like for example, you know the Charles Dickens story? Charles Dickens wrote a book called A Christmas Carol. That was 1843. But the whole nation was not celebrating. Yes, certain people still celebrating, so that's why that book was written. However, this celebration is done in the Netherlands. It was national in 1810. Listen good to what I'm saying, 1810. That's 60 years before America nationalized it, officialized it. Holland, the Netherlands, was celebrating it already in 1810 with a more, listen to my words, a more historical outlook. I'm going to read this. In Holland, Santa doesn't have elves, he has slaves. What are they talking about? You had many blacks that moved over. I mean, you had blacks in Holland and Netherlands already. But some blacks from America recently moved over there. And they were shocked. It was a culture shock when Christmas time came. They said, where is the elves? They said, our Santa Claus does not have elves. He has slaves. What the hell is this? So, I'm going to read it briefly. As a newcomer to the Netherlands, I do many things wrong. I forget to bring gifts to dinner parties. I thank people too profusely and often speak too personally with people I've just met. But no slip-up has provoked a more troubled response than when I've brought up my concerns about Santa Claus. Mix the words around in Santa, you get Satan. Here's what concerns me in Holland. Santa or Sinterklaas. Sinterklaas, that's how they say Santa Claus in Holland. Sinterklaas, as he's known to the Dutch, doesn't have reindeer. He has a little helper named Zwarte Piet, literally Black Pete. That's his name. Zwarte Piet is Black Pete, who charms children with peppernotten cookies and a cookie demeanor while horrifying foreign visitors with his resemblance to Little Black Sambo. Each year on December 5th, the morning before the feast of St. Nicholas, children all over the country wake up excited for gifts and candy, while thousands of adults go to their mirrors to apply brown paint and red lips. In their Zwarte Piet costumes, they fill central Amsterdam and small village streets, ushering in the arrival of Sinterklaas, who in the Dutch tradition rides a flying white horse. Trying to tell a Dutch person why this image disturbs you will often result in anger and frustration. Otherwise, mature and liberal-minded adults may recoil from the topic and offer a rote list of reasons why Zwarte Piet should not offend anybody. He is not even a black man, many will tell you. He is just black because he came down the chimney. Then you may reply, why aren't his clothes dirty? So now let's pause there. Give me Wikipedia. Go to Wikipedia. Just Google it. Go to Wikipedia. I want Sinterklaas. Just type in Sinterklaas. Now, these are some more of your Jewish fables. Right there, 19th century. I'm just going to read this. This is about Santa Claus. Oh, first, let's go back up. I'm sorry, go back up. Let's take a look at Santa Claus. I forgot. Okay, that's a photograph in 2009 of a man portraying Santa Claus. Now, what I want you to see is that he's still your favorite friendly neighborhood white man. He wears the Pope's Dagon hat. He rides a gray or white stallion. Now, scroll down. There's under Santa Claus, go down to Pete. This is an example of Zwarte Piet, which means Black Pete or Black Peter. Notice, I want you to look at the way he's dressed. The way he's dressed is historic. I'll touch that in a second. Go down. Okay, this is Santa Claus and his Zwarte Piet helpers arriving by steamboat from Spain. Go down. I said something, everybody just missed it. Right there. Can you blow that picture up right there? Notice Santa's helper, he's checking his list. It is a Swarte Piet illustration from the 1850 book, St. Nicholas Jean, I can't pronounce. Y'all from Holland, y'all online, y'all know what this is saying. St. Nicholas and his servant. So the servant would help him make toys, things of that nature. Once again, look how Black Pete is dressed. I want you to look at the clothing. Look at the Pope's hat on Santa Claus. You see, that's the Dagon that you read about in Judges about Samson. Remember, the Philistines were worshiping the fish god Dagon, and he had a big hat on his head that had a fish's mouth. That's that hat. Okay, go back out of that. Now let's go to 19th century. Go down, scroll down. 19th century, I want to read this for y'all. In the 19th century, the saint emerged from hiding and became more secularized at the same time. The modern tradition of Santa Claus as a children's feast was likely confirmed with the illustrated children's book St. Nicholas and Zine Knick, whatever. St. Nicholas and his servant, written in 1850 by the teacher Jean Schenkman, 1806 to 1863. Some say he introduced the images of Santa Claus delivering presents by the chimney, riding over the roofs of houses on a gray horse, and arriving from Spain, I'm stressing that for a reason, by steamboat, which at that time was an exciting modern invention. Perhaps building on the fact that St. Nicholas historically is the patron saint of the sailors, many churches dedicated to him have been built near harbors. Schenkman could have been inspired by the Spanish customs and ideas about the saint when he portrayed him arriving via the water in his book. Schenkman introduced the song, I can't pronounce that, it means look over yonder, the steamboat is arriving, which is still popular in the Netherlands. In Schenkman's version, the medieval figures of the mock devil, which later changed to Oriental, or look at the next word, Moorish helpers. Y'all know what the word Moor means, right? Latin, it means black. Moorish helpers was portrayed for the first time as black African and called Zwarte Piet, Black Peter. Go down. Okay, that's all I want out of there. Watch this. Give me the video from CNN that Captain Isaac had posted some time ago, which is excellent. Now, blackface, Dutch holiday. Now, how long is this video? Put the link up. Okay, that's too long, but I'm going to jump around. Let's start at 10 minutes. No, it's 15. Start at 5 minutes. Let me see. Start at 5 minutes. You at home, y'all could, if y'all have never seen this video, you can see it on your leisure. Okay. Let's start at 5 minutes. Let's try there. Watch, pay close attention. Right there. Bring it back.
Spank naughty.
Bring it back. There's some good stuff in here. Bring it back. Let's start there. Just start. Now, pause it. I'm sorry. The brother that's narrating this, yes, he's a sodomite, but that's not the point I want to get to. But he moves to the Netherlands, and he said it was culture shock to him when it got to the month of December. Of course, he saw people, all his Edomite friends would put on black paint and red lips. He's like, what are y'all doing? Even his homo lover was doing, so what are you doing? So, I'm insulted by this.
So during the rest of the year, they didn't show any of this.
Right.
So when it got to that season, then they realized everybody was changing.
Right. Everybody's
that was the
changing.
shock.
Right. Then you see things in the stores. This is what we're reading. Watching here. Watch this. Go ahead.
Santa Claus in the US and Sinterklaas in the Netherlands are both fairy tales. This is Sinterklaas.
Sinterklaasje, kom maar binnen met je knap, want we zitten.
Oh yes, Santa Claus and Black Pete are as Dutch as tulips and Gouda cheese. The fairy tale unrolls every year in late fall when Santa Claus and his Black Petes leave Spain and arrive in the Netherlands by steamboat.
Moet maar buiten staan.
Kids get all worked up and eventually sleep deprived until the evening of December 5th when they receive tons of gifts. My Dutch spouse tells me when he was a kid, Black Pete held a broom made of willow branches, used to spank naughty children, and a burlap bag in which the worst behaved kids would be taken back to Spain. But that all changed in the 70s, he says, Nowadays, Black Pete is all harmless fun.
If you want to, you can see it as the slave, the bad guy that takes the children back to Spain.
But do people not like Zwarte Piet?
Oh no, they love them.
People love Zwarte Piet.
Yeah, because they give candy to the kids and they give the presents and they do funny
So
stuff.
they don't see Zwarte Piet as bad.
No.
Other people do see it as bad, as discrimination, kind of that he's, I don't know, the slave of Sinterklaas. Or...
But the problem is, you focus too much on the bad stuff. That's why it sounds so bad. But as a kid, it's more like a party.
Draaien aan de deur geklopt, hard geklopt, zacht geklopt. Draaien aan de deur geklopt, wie zou daar zijn?
Wees maar gerust, mijn kind, ik ben een goede vriend. Want al ben ik zwart als roet, ik meen het toch goed.
I must say, looking at it from my girlfriend, it's a bit different. She looks still very nice.
We're a different couple. But still the same person. Yeah.
Now listen to this. See that devil? Listen to what he says.
Okay,
He's a demon.
Yeah.
My pa's in St. Nicholas.
Wow.
That's my dad. And I became a Black Pete. That's my pa.
You should have saved a picture of yourself as Black Pete.
No, I haven't.
No.
No.
So in America, when they see Zwarte Piet, they're shocked.
They don't know what our tradition is. In the history, there are a good man, Santa Claus, and there is an enemy, a devil. And the devil is black. But the devil was, in the history, a very angry person.
Black, angry
Black.
person.
But Black Pete is transformed to not a person who was angry, but a person who was friendly.
So Black
Pause it
Pete
right
was
there.
an angry black man,
Yeah.
and now he's a happy black
So I
man.
want
Black
you to
Pete is
just
not
pay
racism.
attention. Black Pete was an angry black man. Then he was transformed to be a good man. Now, all that goes historically. I'm going to tell you about it in a second. Play on.
Now he's a happy black man.
Black Pete is not racism. Black Pete is not a slave. He is the friend of everyone.
The earliest images of Zwarte Piet are from the mid-19th century in a book illustration for children. He is a black page, as you would have them in the 17th century, a servant to the social elite.
Were these servants slaves?
They were not free, so they were definitely slaves. But of course, they were not the same kind of slaves as those who worked on the plantation. Here you have a former ambassador to Morocco, and here is his slave. On the back of this page.
Pause. If y'all look, I want y'all to, this is all what y'all looking at is a Renaissance painting. It's all historical. We're going to touch the history in a second, but I want you to look at Black Pete in the back with the turban on his head. This is all history. Even in the one in the front. So when he said Black Pete was an angry black man, then he was transformed, it's all historical of when, I'm going to just tell you, who knows the history on this? Raise your hand, let me see what's thinking. Only one brother? Let me hear you, Ezekiel, let me hear you. Give him the mic. Give Ezekiel the mic, let me see if you got it. We're still on video, right? I don't want you to lose the video. Okay.
This is the Renaissance era. So, well, they captured our people and they made our people first slaves in Spain.
Right.
So that goes back to why they said they come from Spain on the boat.
Exactly. Thank you, 100%. This is when the Christian whites overthrew us, 1453. They got Constantinople. They got Spain. The Moors that they captured, they forced to become Christians. This is why the ones they captured, they became the slaves of the white Christians. That's why I said Black Pete was angry at first, because he was ruling. Then he transformed to be good. They forced them to become Christians and became the servants or slaves of the Caucasians. Right, that's when they became good. This is the history behind this that they're alluding to but not coming out straight and telling you. Let's play on.
Were these servants slaves?
They were not free, so they were definitely slaves. But of course, they were not the same kind of slaves as those who worked on the plantation. Here you have a former ambassador to Morocco, and here is his slave. On the back of this painting is his name. He's called Thomas, and he's 15 years old. And he's wearing a metal collar around his neck, like a dog.
Yeah.
Once people become conscious of this, and you do realize that this figure roots in slavery, knowledge can turn something that's inoffensive at first, can make it offensive.
That's what's happening right now in the Netherlands, yes. I think. But, but there's a huge group of people who don't want to know.
Okay. Perhaps that's true.
Slavery in the Netherlands here?
Yeah, not here, but in the south of America.
There were no slaves here in the Netherlands.
No.
No.
Pause. These devils lie at the drop. All them black people in the Netherlands, how'd they get there? They were brought over. A lot of them came from, like they were saying, from Spain. A lot of them. And their families grew up there from the time of slavery. The Dutch had colonies of slaves. Play on.
So are the Dutch really in denial about their role in slavery?
Well, I think denial is probably a harsh word. I think they have systematically sort of erased a lot of that part of the history. In 1863, when slavery was legally abolished here in the Netherlands, it really wasn't the end of slavery.
Wait,
the
pause.
owners...
She says slavery was abolished in the Netherlands in 1863. So why was the Edomite just saying there was no slavery there? You see how they just lie? Go ahead, play. I'll try not to.
Were compensated along with other colonial empires.
So they were compensated, but the slaves weren't.
Exactly. They were compensated and demanded that they be compensated for abolishing slavery.
It's so upside down.
It is. But the enslaved were required to work 10 more years, and when the 10 years was over, you can go now. That was all that you heard.
The Dutch seem to have a short memory when it comes to their role in slavery.
So the whites were compensated financially for slavery being abolished. Whites got reparations.
Right.
They got money.
We apologize for abolishing slavery.
Right,
so
and gave them money. Then the blacks didn't get nothing. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
In recent years, they've been inventing new ways to deny that Black Pete is a racist figure by saying he's only black because he went down the chimney.
We want to keep the fairy tale Sinterklaas, and we have to adjust and listen to the voices in society. Black Pete, we call him nowadays Chimney Pete.
Pete came down the chimney.
And then, because he didn't wash himself, became black, and finally Sinterklaas said, go to a shower, as everybody knows we should wash ourselves. And we started to wash them. But if you are 100 years in a chimney, it's coming not off that easy.
You'd go down the chimney, and apart from becoming black...
And that turns your hair also curly.
Yes.
And your lips red, so your lips don't get black, your lips go red.
No, they go red.
Crazy.
And the rest of your clothes stay perfectly clean.
Yeah, perfectly clean. How much of this is commercial?
100%. Of course, it's about selling as many gifts, as many items for children as you can.
In the United States, we're all too familiar with using racist and demeaning caricatures for profit. Blackface was wildly popular in entertainment and advertising starting in the mid-1800s. This was a clever way to dehumanize an entire race, fresh off the heels of slavery.
I ain't drink nothing but water.
These images are hard to forget. They have always made me feel less than human. I spent a lifetime fighting those feelings. And now I'm confronting them again. I can't imagine what it's like for Black people in the Netherlands to still be fighting this struggle.
We went to Dordrecht, and there they have the National Parade. So the Sinterklaas figure and his black-faced actors show up. And we went to the square where the parade would end. Well, the cops said, hey, you guys need to move. They said, you've been told to leave already and you need to go now. And we were like, no, we have the right to stand here like everybody else. And before I knew it, I was on the ground. 5 of them were on me. They were hitting me in the kidneys, they were stomping me, they were pulling at my arms, and they dragged me through the street into an alleyway. And in the alleyway, they pepper sprayed me twice, and then they arrested me and they put me in a police station in a cell for 6 hours.
That's not good. That is not a part of a fairy tale. And it is not a part of a children tradition.
Whoever says, you know what, we should use kids as a shield not to talk about difficult issues, they're pretty much deluding themselves and thinking that that's the right way to go at it. Because kids are at the root of why it needs to change.
I simply do not agree. This is a old children's tradition. Sinterklaas and Zwarte Piet, Black Piet. And it is not green Piet or brown Piet, it is Black Piet, so I cannot change that. My friends in the Dutch Antilles, they are very happy when they have Sinterklaas because they don't have to paint their faces. When I'm playing for Black Piet, I'm for days trying to get off the stuff on my face.
Prime Minister.
Prime Minister.
When we were in Gouda, hundreds of white people in blackface, and I was standing there. I didn't even have a shirt saying Zwarte Piet is racism. I was just standing there. But me standing there, and they walking past me and looking me in the eye, they know what they are doing is wrong. So I made them feel so uncomfortable that they had to get the cops, and the cops had to get me away.
This one says, when the police arrested you, they made one mistake, and that's that they forgot to use their weapon on you. That's this one. Oh my God. There's so much more. Hold on. Get the F out of this country, and soon you will be on the news, being raped and dumped in a container. That's what's going to happen to you. This is just one of the thousands I had. Look, all of this, I didn't even open. No, it's too much.
As Dutch newspapers start spreading the news on the documentary I'm making, I'm receiving my own share of hate.
Eat a banana, stupid black monkey.
How dare you live here and try to change things? This could make your life not safe.
Zwarte Piet is our culture. Go back to the roots.
I should have known. A blackface makes a documentary about our children's friend. Drop dead.
You know you should shove that whole issue up your sorry ass.
Dutch people will hunt you down.
I was listening to some of the comments that the people are saying against the journalists that's exposing all of this. And the comments, some of the comments were, how dare you come here and disrupt our culture and what we're doing here. And earlier in the presentation of the video, there was a part where they said about Pete coming down the chimney. And they said that he was made black because of the smut that's inside the chimney. And then people began to challenge that by saying, well, why come his clothes weren't dirty as well? So this story, or the tale, has a lot of holes in it. But to show you how disciplined they are as far as keeping tradition, which is what these emails are saying, the same thing, how dare you change it, regardless if it's wrong or not. We understand that we must back it even in its wrongness, because it represents our solidarity in what we believe in. So they're not going to change their mind regardless, and they all agree with it. They all agree with it regardless of what facts you bring.
And in addition to what you're saying there, which is correct, the black people, our people that are in the Netherlands, what do they have a problem with celebrating Santa Claus, or is it Black Pete? It's only Black Pete. So if you change that whole lie into an elf, those black people will be happy. That's the evil behind the whole thing. They just don't want to be pointed out historically as a slave. But when we go through the scriptures, God says the entire thing is evil and is satanic. But our people have not woken up to that. Let's go back to the video.
I'm invited to a family celebration.
my first pizza cake. It's delicious.
We all grew up with Santa Claus, and well, it's just one of the most happy days of the year for children. So it's our way of being a small child again. Yeah.
This family has taken me in without any reservation. They're lovely people who don't seem to mean any harm. Or is it that they choose to look the other way?
The challenge is being able to see the other person, meaning the people of color, as your equal. My experience as a black person is equally as important as your tradition. And if we can see that and we can come to terms with that, then you'll say it's important that we make this tradition so that it's inclusive of all people.
This is the idyllic town of Monnikendam, where the Dutch have gathered to say farewell to Santa Claus and his Black Pete's for another year. I'm about the only real black person in the crowd, and I see some people staring at me. I have never felt this uncomfortable since moving here. So the Black Pete's leave for Spain again. They're gone for another year. Standing here, I realize that the world will not stand for this much longer, and Black Pete will have to change.
Well, alrighty then. So now, get me Jeremiah 10. I'm telling you, the only problem they got is the Black Pete part. They want the rest of the lie. But let's see what God says about that. Jeremiah 10, let's start at verse 1.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 10 and verse 1. Hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel.
So the Lord is speaking to the Israelites. Go ahead.
Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen.
Learn not the way of the heathen. These customs that we keep today, like Christmas, is a way of the heathen. What heathen nation taught us? Christmas, Santa Claus and all that? The so-called white man. He is the heathen nation. During the time when Jeremiah wrote this, Jeremiah was prophesying about Babylon, because we were about to go under Babylon, which are the modern-day Ethiopians. Read.
And be not dismayed at the signs of heaven.
For
the heathen are dismayed at them. For the customs of the people are vain.
For the customs of the people are vain, meaning lies. Go ahead.
For one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workmen with the axe. They deck it with silver and with gold.
They decorate that tree with silver and with gold. Go ahead.
They fasten it with nails and with hammers, that it move not.
So today we use a tree stand, so it don't move, so it don't fall down. But there was a myth back then that the tree could walk if you did evil. Go ahead.
They are upright as the palm tree.
Right. Back during the time of ancient Babylon, they used the palm tree. But now, more modern time, they use the evergreen tree today. Go ahead.
But speak not. They must needs be born.
The word born, B-O-R-N-E, means carried. The tree must needs be carried. Go ahead.
Because they cannot go. Be not afraid of them.
Listen good to this. Be not afraid of them.
For they cannot do evil.
For they cannot do evil. Go ahead.
Neither also is it in them to do good.
They can't do evil. They can't do good. Now, what does that part of the verse have to do with the whole Santa Claus crap? In America, they teach you, I forgot. He knows when you are sleeping. He knows when you are, you know that one? He knows when you are bad or good, so be good for goodness sake. Oh, now that's in America. In Holland, in Netherlands, they said if you're bad, Black people put you in a burlap bag, carry you to Spain, and whoop the hell out of you. So all little white kids are terrified of Black Pete, If I'm bad, he'll put me in that bag and carry me back to Spain. That's what they're saying. So the Most High from Jeremiah chapter 10, the whole thing is satanic and evil. But our people in the Netherlands say, no, only take out Black Pete so we can all be equal. No, the whole thing. That's why God ain't rolling with our people out there. Even here in America, only time our people speak out against Christmas is not because it's a satanic holiday, but they say, oh, well, if we hit them economically, then they'll do what we want. They'll make us equal. Our people are simple as hell here. That's not going to make us equal in the sight of the so-called white man. Okay, watch this. Now, get me Google. Let's get the book Nature Knows No Color Line. You should already have it up there. Show the book cover. If y'all don't have this book, get this book. It's called Nature Knows No Color Line by J.A. Rogers. Okay? Okay, let's go inside the book to page 63. Let me look. Yes, right there. So I want y'all to look, see the pictures right there? Zoom in on the bottom. Moorish, listen to Moorish chess players of Spain. See that? You see the blacks playing Spain? The Moors introduced the Moors introduced chess to the world. Now, I know some of y'all thought it was the white man. It was not the white man. The black man brought in chess. From the 13th century, I can't see that next word, of something. Note the white servant. So there's a white servant there. Now, if you look at the blacks, they're playing chess. All right, go back up now. Now let's look at the prince. Let's go back up. Okay, these are some of the Moors. Okay. Now, remember, the term Moor represented two groups, two factions of blacks. You had the most popular ones, you had Muslim Moors and you had Jew Moors. Now, let's go over to the side. Okay, watch this. The very bottom says, British families, top left, the Moors of Yorkshire, including Sir Thomas More, Chancellor of Henry VIII. We all heard of Henry VIII. His chancellor was Sir Thomas More. Let's go up to the top. That's him in the middle. Correct me, right? With the hat.
That's Sir Thomas More, the third one from the left side. Henry VIII is the one that's over the coat of arms, the first one, the largest one. The next one is Princess Anne, and the one over there in the corner, the last one is Queen Elizabeth.
So this is the history we're not being taught in America. Queen Elizabeth I, the real one. So y'all see Henry VIII top left with the two double earrings. That's Henry VIII. His chancellor, Sir Thomas More, is the one in the middle. So now, when we go to the side here, it says Negro ancestry in the white race. You got Germany 126, Holland 53, Italy 24. So J.A. Rogers, when he went throughout the Netherlands, throughout Europe, he found all these black images that we're not taught about here in the United States. It says, later, with only little research, I found 162 of the latter with one or more Negroes. Who were these blacks? Wade, Grand Mason, and some others say they represent Moors, whom the Crusaders fought in Spain and Palestine. Let me read that again. Who were these blacks? Wade, 43, Grand Mason, 44, and some others say they represent Moors, which means blacks, whom the Crusaders fought in Spain and Palestine. Some, as Gauss says, represent trade and exploration, that is, of whites who adventured in black men's lands. For instance, Sir John Hawkins, father of the English slave trade, had a bound Negro in his coat of arms. Both these views are right only in a very small way, because they do not explain why so many of these families with Negroes are named Moore, Blackamoor, and the like. McRitchie is correct when he says that families with the name of Moore, Maurice, Morrison, and other derivatives of Moore had Moors as their ancestors. He adds, nor can the Moors of heraldry be explained. Heraldry means these coats of arms. He adds, nor can the Moors of heraldry be explained sufficiently. Remember, J. Rogers, this is about I think he published this in 1960, 1970, but he was born in the 30s. I can't remember. Find out when that book was, not you. Abigail, somebody Google on their phone. When was this published? Okay, so I want you to look at these images. Now I'm going to read this part again. He adds, nor can the morals of heraldry be explained sufficiently on the theory that the founders of families bearing spurs in assisting Spaniards to now see that there we go. 1952, thank you. So this was published 1952, thank you. So now, pay close attention to that line I just read. He adds, nor can the morals of heraldry be explained sufficiently on the theory that the founders of families bearing Moors as supporters and Moors' heads as crests had won their spurs in assisting Spaniards to expel the Moor. Let's pause there for a second. So what happened? When the whites began to conquer, they got certain Moors to work with them to cast out the other blacks and or enslave them. It's the same thing the whites did in South America, same thing they did in Central America and North America. Divide and conquer. That's why you can pay a Negro $1. He'll do anything the white man says. All right, I was going to say something else, but I won't say that. All right. The bearing among ancient coats of arms is too common to admit this explanation, and a heraldic representation of a Moor or Negro man does not suggest Granada. The features are somewhat ugly, irregular, and the hair, though longer than that of a pure Negro, is woolly. Okay. Can we zoom in on the pages so the people can read along with us a little bit? All right. It says, as regards Christian Spain and Portugal, listen good, as regards Christian Spain and Portugal, Negroes were imported in droves from 1440 until the abolition of slavery in Portugal in 1773. Already before the discovery of America. So before America was discovered, slavery, we was being bought in Spain as slaves, Portugal. It says already, okay, let me read on. Several thousands of Negro slaves had been, what's that word, expatriated from Senegal, Guinea, and the Congo, and were working in Lisbon and Algarves. And so now, although he's naming that, use the words Negro and Senegal, these are Israelites, as we're going to read, as we're going to prove. The Catholic sovereigns were dealers, I'm going to read that again. The Catholic sovereigns were dealers in Negro slaves. I got to read that again. I know some of them got Catholic families. A lot of you Haitians. The Catholic sovereigns were dealers in Negro slaves. It was Christopher Columbus who went plundering in Negro slaves in Guinea before stealing Indian slaves in Cuba. Let me read that again, because they don't tell you that in school. It was Cristobal Columbus who went plundering in Negro slaves in Guinea before stealing Indian slaves in Cuba. Before the discovery of America, the Negroes already were cutting sugarcane in, what's that word? Andalusia. And in Seville, there was a municipal council of native Negroes with fraternal orders, kings and overseers. The Negro came first to the Indies from Spain. Wait a minute. Let me read that whole sentence again. The Negro came first to the Indies, talking about the Caribbean islands, from Spain, not from Africa. Let me read that again because y'all didn't get that part right there. The Negro came first to the Indies from Spain, not from Africa. See, they don't teach you that in school. They say every black came from Africa. That's a lie. That's what J. Rogers is proving. With all those black coats of arms throughout Europe, he was proving we were ruling Europe. They conquered us and brought many of us as slaves on this side of the world.
Right. Lerone Bennett Jr. also put that out in his book.
Right.
He said that a lot of the slaves that came over to the Americas, the first ones that came with Spanish names.
Exactly. 100%.
Meaning they came from Spain.
Right. They don't tell you this in school. All right. The Negro came first and then from Spain, not from Africa. And as, what's that word? Euclides, what's that next word? Acuna said of Brazil. I can't remember. The mulatto was not made in America. He came to us already made from the, what is that, mother? From the mother country. The African Negro slave trade was more abundant than for America. In one city like Evora, Portugal, the Negroes undeniably exceeded the whites. Several thousands of Wolof, Mandingo, Guinea, and Congo slaves entered Lisbon and Seville each year and were sold for the cities and fields of the south of Iberia. And without the bestial prejudices which afterwards were current in American societies of agrarian slave-holding economy, the Negroes and mulattoes were frequently emancipated, and both rose to prominence by virtue of knowledge, art, valor, or, what does that say, love? Love. Negroes were adopted into, so once they conquered us and they kept, like they showed, we saw the first painting, the Renaissance, you had the little black boy with a collar on his neck. If he had any of those characteristics, they rose up in prominence. This is after the Renaissance, from the 1453 on up. This is before the 1620 slave trade of North America. Negroes, I already read that. Okay, so now, I'm gonna let that go. Give me the next one. I had something else. Give me the video, Moors in Europe 4. It's a video on YouTube, this one. Moors in Europe 3, right, this is it. Who was that head-banded man? So this brother had, now all of the sketches that you saw in J.A. Rogers' book, some people say that J.A. Rogers made those images up and he sketched them. Yeah, he sketched them, but he did not have a camera to photograph. That was back in the 50s. So now this guy went and got many of the same images and he photographed them and put them in his video. So just pay it, so when y'all get the book, you can match it along with the video showing you J.A. Rogers did not concoct and make that stuff up that's in his book. Play it. This isn't all from Spain. Some of these coats of arms are from Britain, Germany, Russia, France, Poland. We're going to read this. We rule the earth. This is what the white man has kept secret for all these 400 years from us. Tell y'all all come from Africa. You a bunch of monkeys, jungle bunnies. Y'all have no history. Read on anyway. We're moving right along. And we go, okay.
Right. They try to cover up their history about the destruction of Jerusalem in 70 AD. And out of that history, you had a lot of Israelites that fled down into the interiors of Africa.
I'm sorry, I forgot something. We read earlier that we were ruling in Spain and Palestine.
Right.
We read that tonight.
Sure
it just
did.
popped out of my head. We were ruling Palestine. That was our homeland.
And in some of the history, in some of the history records, you read about the parts where Israel that wanted to stay in Jerusalem and secure it. When the Romans came in, they took a lot of Israel into Rome and made slaves out of them in the arenas. Okay, and in 193 AD was Septimius Severus and the gladiators that was ruling that was with him. They rose up and overthrew the whole Roman Empire. Those were the gladiators. Like when you watch that movie Gladiator, that movie itself illustrates that section of the history. That's why they named him Septimius. That was a black man. Okay.
Watch this. Give me Revelation chapter 11, verse 7. Let me show you what God says about what we just been discovering.
The book of Revelation, chapter 11 and verse 7.
Okay. Revelation 11, 7 down is about the two witnesses. The two witnesses is not talking about two guys. The two witnesses in Revelation 7 is talking about the two kingdoms, Judah and Israel. So let's start at verse 7.
Verse 7. And when they shall have finished their testimony, the beast that ascendeth out of the bottomless pit shall make war against them, and shall overcome them, and kill them.
Now, I wanted that verse for a reason. And when they shall have finished their testimony, they are the two witnesses, Judah and Israel. The beast that ascended out of the bottomless pit. Hold, let's get me Revelation 12 and 3 about this beast.
The book of Revelation, chapter 12 and verse 3. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon.
The great red dragon represents Esau, according to Genesis 25:25. The first came out red all over like a hairy garment. Go ahead.
Having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his heads.
Now, some Christians get thrown off because it says dragon. Well, it says dragon, brother. It means it's a literal dragon. No, it's not a literal dragon. That's a similitude. Like when you read, give me this, here's the proof. Job 30, I think it's verse 29, where Job's talking about them, his friends, his brothers.
Job chapter 30 and verse 29. I am a brother to dragons.
See that? Remember, he said, I'm a brother to dragons. So now he's talking about his buddies, his friends. When you go back to Revelation 12 now, in verse 3, one more time.
And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon.
This great red dragon is Esau, the nation of Edom. What does Edom mean, brothers? It means red. Go ahead.
Having 7 heads.
7 great empires.
And 10 horns.
The European Union, which is the 10 common markets.
And 7 crowns upon his heads.
Go back to Revelation 11, out of chapter before it, in verse 7.
Revelation 11, verse 7. And when they shall have finished their testimony, the beast that ascendeth out of the bottomless pit.
Talk about Europe. Go ahead.
Shall make war against them.
Shall make war against them.
And shall overcome them and kill them.
And kill them. Now, let's see if this is a literal kill or spiritual kill. Go ahead.
And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified.
This great city is talking about the United States of America. Read verse 8 again.
And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually,
go ahead,
is called Sodom.
Why is this place spiritually called Sodom? Because they promote homosexuality, same-sex marriage. Go ahead.
And Egypt.
And Egypt. Why? Because in ancient Egypt, you had the 12 tribes of Israel in slavery. Here in America, you got the 12 tribes of Israel here in slavery. Go ahead.
Where also our Lord was crucified.
Now, Christ was literally crucified in Jerusalem. He wasn't literally crucified here, so what does that mean? His image and his teachings were crucified, meaning put to death. They destroyed his image and his teachings. Go ahead.
And they of the people and
Now listen to this verse.
And they of the people and kindreds and tongues and nations.
Meaning, remember, in America, you got all nations here. That's what it means. And they of the people and kindreds and tongues and nations, go ahead,
shall see their dead bodies 3 days and a half, and shall not suffer their dead bodies to be put in graves.
We weren't put in graves because we were not literally dead. We're spiritually dead. Just like the verse above it, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified. And they of the people and kindreds and tongues and nations shall see their dead bodies 3 days and a half, meaning 350 years, like we just read earlier. Daniel 7, verse 25. Remember we read that? Hold that. Some of you forgot. Hold that. Get Daniel 7:25 again.
Daniel chapter 7, verse 25. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand.
We shall be given into his hand as slaves. Go ahead.
Until a time and times and the dividing of time.
350 years. Now when we go back to Revelation 11 and verse 9 again.
Verse 9. And they of the people and kindreds and tongues and nations shall see their dead bodies 3 days and a half.
The 3 days and a half is going back to the times, and dividing of times, which is 350 years. Go ahead.
And shall not suffer their dead bodies to be put in graves.
Because we're not literally dead, we're spiritually dead. Watch the next verse.
And they that dwell upon the earth shall rejoice over them and make merry.
Read that again.
And they that dwell upon the earth shall rejoice over them.
When the beast, which is the white man, conquered us, it says they rejoice over the images that we just saw with them holding a flag. The whole Santa Claus in Holland, that's a rejoicing over us. With Black Pete, we conquered the blacks. We conquered them. Read it again.
And they that dwell upon the earth shall rejoice over them and make merry.
Merry Christmas is about the conquering of the blacks, the Israelites. That's what it's about. Read it again.
And they that dwell upon the earth shall rejoice over them and make merry, and shall send gifts one to another.
At one time, the gifts was you and I. We were the gifts they gave one to another. Today is chocolate and candy and Transformer toys. They just changed it. That's all they did. But the whole celebration was about us being conquered. The proof is in Holland. Because some of us get so ignorant. No, it's about elves. It ain't about no damn elves. They changed that to keep us asleep. The whole celebration is our destruction. Read it again.
And they that dwell upon the earth shall rejoice over them and make merry, and shall send gifts one to another. Because these two prophets...
The two prophets is the kingdom of Judah and the kingdom of Israel. Go ahead.
Tormented them that dwelt on the earth.
How did we torment them? We had them in slavery. That's how we tormented them. We didn't play with the so-called white man. Their scholars know this history. We today have been dumbed down. They say the Americans are the dumbest of all people. The American public. That's why in Europe they say these people in America don't know nothing. Like the things they were talking about in Holland, those whites in America over here, the regular whites don't know nothing. They go, what are you talking about? Santa Claus ain't about it. They go, yes, it is. Go ahead.
Yeah, Elder, and what proved that is Black Pete. Because the tale that they used to say over there is that if the kids and them do something wrong, Black Pete gonna torment them. He gonna come and take them back to Spain.
Right.
Proving that goes back to the history that say that we tormented them. All right, so we used to torment them. They used to scare their kids, telling their kids, listen, Black Pete gonna come for you if you misbehave. You understand? Because they always had that fear because we saw the picture early on. They was our servants. Right. All right? That's why when you read it, read the verse again. Read it again.
Verse 10. And they that dwell upon the earth shall rejoice over them and make merry, and shall send gifts one to another.
Read it again.
Because these two...
Read it again from the top.
And they that dwell upon the earth...
It's talking about the nations. It's talking about Edom. Read on.
...shall rejoice over them.
They shall rejoice after what? Over who? Over the Israelites. Over our forefathers that was in Spain. Why?
And make merry, and shall send gifts one to another.
I make merry, meaning Merry Christmas. That's when Christmas, the Christmas celebration that is being done today, it started after we was conquered in Spain. You understand? That's when that Christmas celebration started. If we could go all the way back to Daniel 10, but that back then is different. When the white man celebrated it in the 1600s, it was because of the conquering of our people. All right? When you read it, that's what the verse is saying. Read it again.
And they that dwell upon the earth shall rejoice over them and make merry, and shall send gifts one to another.
So they start sending gifts to one another, and they start making merry, Merry Christmas. Why? Read on.
Because these two prophets tormented them that dwelt on the earth.
Because at one point in time we tormented them. After 193 AD, when we conquered Rome, that ushered into the dark ages, and we started ruling over them, and we conquered them, and we tormented them. All right, so that's what happens. So after they get back into power, they say, let's make merry and give gifts one to another. Because these two prophets, they had us in slavery for a minute. You understand? So let's do this celebration, and that's where that come from. You understand? And that's why they teach their kids, listen, Black Pete gonna come for you and take you to Spain, because that was our headquarters where we was at, ruling from Spain. All right, so now they know, so we know today exactly where Christmas came from. You all should not be confused where that come from. As I said, when we read Daniel 10, the Babylonians and them used to celebrate it. Jeremiah 10, 10 and 1, the Babylonians used to celebrate it. But today, where the white man get that from, and the reason why they celebrating it is because they conquered us.
Right. Real quick. We watched a documentary earlier about the brother that went to the Netherlands, and he mentioned he went to the house. He showed Black Pete having a thing in his hand. He said he whips the kids and they're bad. You know what I'm talking about, Elder? Look up Krampus real quick, please. Krampus. That movie came out, I think, this week or last week. It's coming out. It's called Krampus. It's an evil demon that kidnaps or destroys evil kids. He's like the alter ego of Santa Claus. But Krampus is Black Pete, and I have it here. That's what that guy, the Edomite, said to the guy. He says that Black Pete started off as a black demon, then he turned good later on. I'm gonna show you how. Look right there. Now look what he's wearing there. He's carrying that bag right there. See the birch in his hand? The thing he has in it says that Black Pete had in his hand in the documentary. The exact same to whip the little kids. Now go to Wikipedia and look up Krampus. Okay, read that. It says Krampus. Wait, right here. It says, although Krampus appears in many variations, most share some common physical characteristics. He is hairy, usually brown or black, and has cloven hooves and horns of a goat. His long pointed tongue lolls out. That goes to the Edomite said that he started off as a devil. An angry black man. It says Krampus carries chains, thought to symbolize the binding of the devil, which is he's a slave. It says he thrashes the chains for dramatic effect. The chains are sometimes accompanied with bells. That goes back to yokes around our neck with the bells. Yeah, go down. It says the birch branches he beat kids with are replaced with the whip in some representations. Sometimes Krampus appears with a sack or wash tub strapped to his back. This is called a card of evil for evil children, blah, 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 to the point. It says some of the older versions make mention of naughty children being put in the bag and being taken. This part of the legend refers to the times that the Moors raided the European coast as far as Iceland to abduct the local people into slavery. This quality can be found in other companions of St. Nicholas, such as Zwart Piet. So Krampus is Zwart Piet. That's what we tormented them in Revelation 11. We took their kids and put them in slavery and brought them back over there, as far as Iceland, because we were overthrowing the Edomites. And they said, he's a demon. Then when they conquered us, he became a good black man. He became a good black boy when they conquered us. So he started off. So
they made us Christians.
Right, made us Christians. So he started off as that black demon with the horns, and we overthrew them in Spain. Scary niggas is gonna kill us. These evil demons, and gave us that pagan demonic look of old time, and they made Saint Nicholas also a demon, a white Santa Claus. That white version comes from a paganism also. So they whitewashed Saint Nicholas, made him a white demon in the North Pole, and then they blackwashed us, well not blackwashed, but they made us demons and Saint Pete as Krampus. So Krampus is Black Pete basically.
Right. So in America, they changed Black Pete to an elf. That's
Right.
what they did. It's still a magical
And a
evil
demon.
creature. Demon. Exactly. So where we at, Captain Isaac? Revelation 11:11.
Yes, sir. And after 3 days and a half.
So after 350 years, pay close attention.
After 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from God entered into them.
The spirit of life from God entered into them, meaning we'll start to wake up and remember that we are the Israelites. Go ahead.
And they stood upon their feet.
We're in the beginning stages now trying to stand upon our feet. Go ahead.
And great fear fell upon them which saw them.
So as the nations see us standing up as Israelites, servants of the one true God, the Bible says great fear shall fall upon the nations. Because the nations know that once we wake up, Christ is soon to make his second coming. They're not afraid of Black Lives Matter. They're not afraid of that. Donald Trump showed you that when the Negro went up in his meeting. Black Lives Matter went in, what's the old Edomite's name? The old guy with the white hair. What's his name? He's running for president. Bernie Sanders, thank you. Black Lives Matter went in Bernie Sanders, they took over the mic. So they said, we're going to do the same thing to Donald Trump. Donald Trump said, okay, y'all go ahead and try that. Negroes went up in there, they got the beats down. They got beat down and cast out. So our people say, well, listen, let's hit them economically. Let's not celebrate Christmas. They trying to get solidarity by hitting Esau economically, but we must do it through the word of God. We're not supposed to celebrate Christmas, not because we're trying to offend Esau economically, but because the one true God says don't celebrate it, according to Jeremiah 10, 1-5. That's when the power will come. Now, back to verse 11, one more time.
And after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from God entered into them. And they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them.
Give me 1 Kings 8:47, saying the same thing. Solomon, in his prayer, he saw prophetically Israel waking up. Watch what he says.
1 Kings chapter 8, verse 47. Yet, if they shall bethink themselves.
Bethink themselves meaning remember who you are. Go ahead.
In the land whither they were carried captives.
In the land whither we were carried captives. Go ahead.
And repent.
And what?
And repent.
See, that's one word a lot of our people don't want to do. We don't want to repent. We want to be equal to the so-called white man. God's not talking about us being equal. I want all y'all to understand that. Hold that. Give me Deuteronomy 7:6. God, the Most High God, y'all read this Bible? He's not talking about us being equal to the other nations at all. That's your vain imagination. This is what the Most High says.
Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 6. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth.
So God is not talking about equality. The Bible, you will not find God saying, I want you to be equal to the nations. That is democratic lies. Now, the black woman in the CNN documentary, she says, take away black people because we all want equality. That's not what, now that might, to your ears, you go, oh, that sounds good. That's not the plan of the Most High. His plan is to set us on top of all races. That's where the root of the word racism is race. Meaning it is a race of power. Every nation is racing for power. Nobody, listen good, there's no such thing as equality amongst the nation. You think the Chinese want to be equal with us or anybody? The Chinese is in a race for world domination. The Arabs are in a race for world domination. That's what racism is about.
The word race means competition. The word race itself identifies competition.
Now, go back to 1 Kings chapter 8:47.
1 Kings chapter 8 verse 47. Yet, if they shall bethink themselves in the land whither they were carried captives.
That's what Revelation 11 was saying. And after 3.5 days, the spirit of life from God shall enter into them. Meaning, remembering that who we are, that we're the Israelites. Go ahead.
And repent and make supplication unto thee in the land of them that carried them captives, saying, we have sinned and have done perversely. We have committed wickedness. And so return unto thee with all their heart, and with all their soul. And
That's the only reason we were conquered, because we sinned against the one true God. It's not that the white man was more powerful than us. No, not at all. We sinned. The Most High took his spirit from us. Go ahead.
In the land of their enemies.
In the land of what?
Their enemies.
Go ahead.
Which led them away captive, and pray unto thee toward their land, which thou gavest unto their fathers.
That's why when we stand and do the prayer, we always face Jerusalem, because Solomon prophesied that we must do that. Go ahead.
The city which thou hast chosen, and the house which I have built for thy name. Then hear thou their prayers and their supplication in heaven, thy dwelling place, and maintain their cause.
See that? We want the Most High to maintain our cause, meaning we want God to be with us. He says he's only going to maintain our cause if we repent and bethink ourselves. He said, then I'll be with you. Give me Hosea 3 and 4. This goes back to what Deacon Laba was saying about images.
The book of Hosea, chapter 3 and verse 4. For the children of Israel shall abide many days without a king.
Without a king.
And without a prince. And without a sacrifice. And without an image. And without an ephod. And without teraphim. Afterward shall the children of Israel return and seek the Lord their God and David their king.
Read that one more time.
For the children of Israel shall abide many days without a king. And without a prince. And without a sacrifice. And without an image.
That's the part I wanted. We shall abide many days without an image. And this is what as we're waking up, we're trying, the Most High is revealing to us our ancient images of what us ruling, how we dress, things of that nature, what the Bible is saying. He's restoring that to us. Image is very important. So when you hear certain Israelites say, oh no, you're not supposed to have any images. They don't know the Bible. And they hate the black image of Christ and the angels. I'm going to tell you straight. That's what they hate. And they are against that. They say no images. The Bible says we always had images. And that's why it says here that we would abide many days without an image. Hold on. Give me that in 1 Maccabees 3:48. Watch this.
The book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 3, verse 48. And laid open the book of the Lord, wherein the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their images.
The heathen took our book and painted their images in our books. That's when they started conquering us. So what good would it be if the biblical matriarchs were white? Why would the white man think or need to paint them white if they were already white? Does that make any sense? No. The images in our Bible, in our records, were black images. That's why the heathen painted the likeness of their images in our records. So now go back to Hosea 3 and 4 one more time.
Hosea chapter 3 and verse 4. For the children of Israel shall abide many days without a king, and without a prince, and without a sacrifice, and without an image, and without an ephod, and without teraphim. Afterward shall the children of Israel return.
Afterward shall the children of Israel return. Return to what? Return to the knowledge of who we are. We are the children of Israel. That's who we are. The term, I always tell you the term more. You have groups of blacks today saying, we're more, we're Moors, we're Moors. That simply means black. That's not identifying a race. The racial name for us is Israelites, not Moors. Muslim is a religion. Christianity is a religion. Israel is our race. That's our identity. That is our nationality. That's what God is saying here. Read it again.
Afterward shall the children of Israel return and seek the Lord their God.
That's what we're doing now. That's what we read in 1 Kings 8. That's what we read in Revelation 11:11 in a similitude. Go ahead.
And David their king.
When it says David their king, because you got some dumb Israel said we're supposed to look through the earth looking for King David. When it says David their king, it's talking about Christ, because Christ came from the lineage of David. Can we prove that? Give me that in Acts. It might be chapter 3, chapter 2. 29 and 30. Acts chapter 2. Because people were asking Peter and them about King David. Watch what he says about King David. So some of you in here might secretly be looking for David. You hold your breath. When you find King David, you let me know.
The book of Acts, chapter 2, verse 29. Men and brethren, let me freely speak unto you of the patriarch David.
Patriarch means forefather. of the forefather David. Go ahead.
That he is both dead and buried.
That he is both dead and buried. Go ahead.
And his sepulture is with us unto this day.
And his tomb is over here. Go ahead.
Therefore, being a prophet, and knowing that God had sworn with an oath to him.
Because David was a prophet. King David was a prophet. Therefore, being a prophet, and knowing that God has sworn with an oath. Go ahead.
That of the fruit of his loins.
That of the fruit of King David's loins.
According to the flesh.
According to the spirit. Did it say spirit?
The flesh.
According to the flesh. Wait. Go back to the word loins. Do y'all know what the word loins makes reference to in that verse? What? Penis. 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 Read verse 30 again.
Therefore, being a prophet, and knowing that God had sworn with an oath to him, that of the fruit of his loins.
The word fruit. What is the fruit that comes from your penis? Sperm, semen. Christians get stupid as hell. Oh no, I muffed my ears. I can't hear that. You're an idiot. That's why they talk about Mary had a little lamb. That's why they talk about immaculate deception. Because they refuse to accept the scripture. Read it again, 30.
Therefore, being a prophet, and knowing that God had sworn with an oath to him, that of the fruit of his loins.
Of the sperm of his penis.
According to the flesh.
So it ain't spiritual talk. Peter says, according to the flesh. Go ahead.
He would raise up Christ to sit on his throne.
Proving there is no immaculate conception. Everybody understand that? If y'all confused, because it says, according to the flesh, Christ would raise up Christ to sit on his throne. So back to Hosea now. Go back to Hosea now. It was 3 and
verse 5.
Verse 5.
Hosea chapter 3 and verse 5. Afterward shall the children of Israel return and seek the Lord their God, and David their king.
Meaning Christ. Go ahead.
And shall fear the Lord and his goodness in the latter days.
And we're living in the latter days now. So Hosea was in the spirit of the Lord. He said in the latter days, this is what's going to happen. So many people, when the Christians say ignore the Old Testament, you know there's many prophecies that have not been fulfilled yet, like the one we just read. The one in Kings has not been fulfilled yet. We're in the midst of it now. We're in the midst of prophecy now, okay? From there, get me Deuteronomy 28. So when the nations rejoiced over us and made merry and gave gifts one to another because these two prophets, meaning Judah and Israel, tormented them, goes back to what we're reading here. Deuteronomy 28. Give me verse 32.
Deuteronomy 28, verse 32. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people.
So in the 1453 began the conquest. Understand, the Renaissance era began around 1453. They conquered Constantinople. They conquered us in Spain. They conquered us in Rome. They said, don't call them by their biblical name. Call these groups Moors. What does that mean? Black. Let's call them the blacks. That's it. They conquered. That's when they began to conquer us. Read again.
Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thine eyes shall look and fare with longing for them all the day long.
So they were selling us as slaves. We were given to the race of the white man. They were selling us in Holland, the Netherlands. They conquered us. We read earlier in Palestine. They was conquering us from 1453 all the way up to the 1600s. That was on the eastern side of the world. And they brought many of us on the western side of the world. Give me that proof in Hosea. It might be 11 something about the west. Y'all know what I'm talking about? We shall tremble from the west. That one. Where's that? So this history, y'all have to know it. We all must know it. Our children must know it. Because when they go to the white man's school system, he dumbs our children down. 11 and 10, thank you.
Hosea chapter 11 and verse 10. They shall walk after the Lord. He shall roar like a lion. When he shall roar, then the children shall tremble from the west.
That was it? Was that it, Isaac?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Why does it say the west? Because they were bringing us over here to the west. We already had some of our families here. The northern kingdom was on the western side already when you read 2 Ezra 13 and 40. So go back to Deuteronomy 28. Go back. And give me verse 48.
Verse 48. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee, in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things.
So if we lacked anything, we have to serve our enemies. This is the prophecy. Go ahead.
And he
meaning your enemies,
shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck.
That's why in the paintings that we saw, the Renaissance painting, when he had the little Moor child, he had a yoke of iron on his neck. Okay? Y'all remember that? Okay. And it went from there to now on the 16th, they put the big yokes of iron. Okay? Give me the verse, because I'm not looking at it, where it talks about the bells over our head. It said our heaven shall something. 23?
Verse 23. And thy heaven that is over thy head shall be brass.
Right, because they put brass bells over us. That's like in the picture with the little slave boy. It said, and we read it in the Wikipedia, it said sometimes crumpets, the little black Moor, would have bells. Go ahead.
And the earth that is under thee shall be iron.
That's a similar to, because we had iron yokes on our feet as well. Okay, jump down. Did you finish 48? You finished 48, right?
No, sir. No, sir.
Verse 48, you didn't finish that?
No, sir.
Go ahead.
Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee, in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee.
And we've been destroyed spiritually and mentally. That's why they say the Americans are the dumbest group of public people, because they've dumbed down history. Why? Because why do you think the American white man was just so ignorant? Why didn't he? Let me see who's thinking. Why didn't the American white man do what the English white man did and allow artifacts to remain everywhere? Let me see who's thinking. Why? How come here's my question again. The European white man, you have images of the blacks ruling Europe all throughout Spain, Britain, the Netherlands, like we saw tonight. How come the American white man did not allow many images to remain on this side?
Shalom, shalom. Because they understood that Judah has to wake up first. They knew the prophecy.
There we go. See, he thinking. I know you didn't even think of that thing, but that was it. That's the answer. The American white, listen, the white man studies the scriptures. He knows the wake-up call is on this side, not over here. Britain will come later. He said, but it's this group here. Give me that. Where's that? Give me Zechariah. First, before we get Zechariah, give me Hosea 1, 10, 11. Give me that one first. See, I like when brothers start studying. I like that thing. Makes my job easy. Yeah. You got it for me, Captain?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Hosea chapter 1 and verse 10. Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered.
So don't worry about, the white man outnumber. The Bible says the white man does not outnumber us. God says we number the sand of the sea. Let me tell you something. I know y'all don't think like the white man thinks. The white man says, because you ask a black man how many numbers, what's the word? Demographics of blacks in this city and that city. And they go, we're only like 50,000 or 1 million here. Da, da, da. God says we number the sand of the sea. So this is what the white man's plan. This is what he did. He said, if we can keep them divided, they'll count themselves as this small portion in this city here, this city there, that city there. Furthermore, break them down by religions and racial groups. Break them up, American black, West Indian black, Haitian black, Puerto Rican. Break them up like that. So the demographics will always appear that our numbers are small. That's when you go to Wikipedia in a city and you type in demographics, it shows that our numbers are far less than white men. That's psychological game on us. Read what God said one more time.
Hold it. And in addition to that, they give you the name minorities.
Thank you. Very good. Exactly.
That's the psychological icing on the cake that you just mentioned.
Right, read.
Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered.
God says we cannot be measured or numbered. Go ahead.
And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them.
This is what I wanted. This is the proof. That in the place where it was said unto them.
Ye are not my people.
Ye are not my people.
There.
Wait. Let's examine that. You got to know how they did that. How did they say we're not God's people? By changing our nationality. When they call you African American, West Indian American, Puerto Rican, Dominican, that's them saying you're not God's people. They changed your racial identity. Go ahead.
There it shall be.
Wait, you see the word there? There, meaning in the place where this happened. Go ahead.
There it shall be said unto them, ye are the sons of the living God.
Now, where did that happen? Here in America. This is where the truth sprang out of here. It didn't spring out of Britain. The white man knew that the truth would come. Give me that in Zechariah 12:6. Watch this.
Zechariah chapter 12.
I'm guessing. Is that what I want?
Verse 7.
No. Zechariah 2:6. The one that says, ho, ho. The one that says, Judah, Zion, deliver yourself.
Zechariah chapter 2 and verse 6.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Ho, ho, come forth and flee from the land of the north, saith the Lord. For I have spread you abroad as the four winds of the heaven, saith the Lord.
So the Lord, was that the whole verse?
Yes, sir.
So the Lord is saying we would dwell in the land of the north, meaning North America. Read it again.
Ho, ho, come forth and flee from the land of the north, saith the Lord. For I have spread you abroad as the four winds of the heavens, saith the Lord.
So the land of the north is North America. Now give me the one that says, deliver thyself, O Zion, that dwellest.
The next verse.
Go ahead.
Verse 7. Deliver thyself, O Zion, that dwellest with the daughter of Babylon.
That Zion is referring to Judah. That's what it's referring. It says we would dwell with who?
The daughter of Babylon.
Wait a minute. Now, who is the daughter of Babylon? Who can prove the daughter of Babylon? Let me hear that young man right there. You. Yes, you. Yep, you with the earring. Dreadlock earring, yeah.
Daughter of Babylon will be Psalm 137.
Yes, very good. Get that cap for me, Captain. That's very good. Psalms 137, last 2 or 3 verses.
Psalms 137 and verse 7.
We're going here to prove who the daughter of Babylon is.
Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom in the day of Jerusalem, who said, race it, even to the foundation thereof. O daughter of Babylon, who ought to be destroyed.
So the daughter of Babylon is Edom, Esau, which is the so-called white man. Go back to Zechariah 2 and 7 again.
Zechariah 2 verse 7. Deliver thyself, O Zion, that dwellest with the daughter of Babylon.
Let me ask a question to y'all. I'm going to see who's thinking. It says, deliver thyself, O who?
O Zion.
O Zion. How do we deliver ourselves? We read a few precepts tonight. I'm seeing who's thinking, who can connect the dots. How do we deliver ourselves? Ezekiel got it. In the back, yellow shirt. Yes, you. Let me hear. How do we deliver ourselves? Before you answer, I want to see if you can connect the dot with some scriptures we read tonight. It's saying the same thing, but it used different words. Go ahead.
If we bethink ourselves.
Ah, very good. 1 Kings 8:47 says, if we shall bethink ourselves in the land where we were carried away captive. That's how we begin to deliver ourselves. Very good. Everybody understand that? We got to remember who we are and repent. That's how some Israelites read that and go, see, we were supposed to flee America and go to Egypt. That ain't what that's talking about. You could go to Egypt and still be a Negro. We got to repent of our sins as the Israelites. Okay, everybody understand that? Now, let's give me some more proof. So, it said, deliver thyself, O Zion, that dwellest with the daughter of Babylon, which is Edom. Now, give me Zechariah 12 and 7. Is that what I want?
Yes, sir. The book of Zechariah, chapter 12 and verse 7. The Lord also shall save the tents of Judah first, that the glory of the house of David and the glory of the inhabitants of Jerusalem do not magnify themselves against Judah.
So guess what the white man found out when he read that? He wasn't worried about Issachar. He wasn't worried about Naphtali. He wasn't worried about Benjamin. He said, the first group that's going to wake up. Read it again.
The Lord also shall save the tents of Judah first.
He said, God going to raise Judah up. You don't think the white man know what the tribes are? The scholars know. I ain't talking about these dumb peon, your friends. Your friends are dummies. They don't know nothing. No, my white friend Betty says, no, that's wrong. Your white friend Betty's a devil and is dumb as hell. The scholars of society know where Judah is, knows where Benjamin is, Levi, Ephraim. Like the books we brought out. You don't think they know? Go ahead, speak on it.
The books that we brought out in that documentary on the 12 tribes. All of those books is what's bringing it out.
And who wrote those books?
White people. These scholars, these so-called white people. They have them in their prestigious universities and college campuses all over the world, all over the place. Having all the, just like the stuff we was bringing out in J.A. Rogers, all the information, that stuff there, comes out of a book called the Fairbarns of the Royal Crests. That's where J.A. Rogers got those pictures from. So they got all the archaeology. They got all these records. And it's important for them to have these records because for them to know what not to teach you.
So the white man, yeah.
Even though with the rising of the Haitian people, they didn't care about that. They say Judah. When these groups, when their ways up, we got problems.
And that's why they found it necessary, the American black, to have nothing. They said, don't give this group, they said that, they're trying to get their economy going. In 1920s, drop bombs on them. We can't have this. No images, no land, nothing to call their own. Keep them in a baseline. That's why even the other tribes come here and surpass the American black. Then they say, listen, they go to one of these tribes and go, y'all did in 1 year what these dumb niggas couldn't do in 50 years. And then our brothers go, yeah, mira, yeah. Pago, negro, sucio, puerco, asqueroso. This is what you hear. Levi too, all in the hospitals, you hear them do the same thing. They bring all the Levites in the hospital, get jobs. Benjamin too. Look at you, America. You've been here all the time, you don't do nothing for yourself. Yankee. And it's like you have no idea that this white man has set a trap for Judah, that we will always be on the bottom. Meaning the mass, because somebody right now thinking, well, you got some superstars. The vast majority of Judah got nothing. And it's not because Judah's bums and lazy. That ain't it. There's so much red tape to keep us down, you make your head spin. The white man know what he's doing. He said, that tribe right there, keep them down. Don't let them rise up and do nothing. Because that's the tribe Christ came from. That's the tribe the Spirit is dealing with first. Read it again, Captain.
Zechariah 12, verse 7. The Lord also shall save the tents of Judah first, that the glory of the house of David and the glory of the inhabitants of Jerusalem do not magnify themselves against Judah.
He says, I'm going to raise Judah first so that the other tribes don't magnify themselves against Judah. Because why would they do that? Because the white man has twerked inside the minds of the other tribes, you're better than them. That's what is happening. So Most High said, raise them first. I'm going to raise Judah first. Okay? That's what we look at in the video today from Vice News. You see Israelites in Peru. But they weren't raised up first. They came about late 60s on up. And I was telling Keilyah, I said, the head guy came through New York City. Okay? You have Israelite camps everywhere. And that was because Judah went out teaching. That's what happened.
Yeah, but then Bishop noticed that when Judah was rising up, they start giving Judah a job to keep him down still. And, a lot of black brothers start raising up. Then Esau will give him job to bring him back again. They bring him back to your white states.
Exactly. So the big mouth Judites, they gave checks and jobs to quiet them. They said yes and that. They know just like Christ. Christ didn't come from high class. He said he was raised up in Nazareth. And they said, can anything good come out of Nazareth? Because it was a ghetto. It was a slum. Okay. So give me back to Deuteronomy 28. Give me back there.
Verse 36.
Thank you.
The Lord shall bring thee and thy king which thou shalt set over thee unto a nation which neither thou nor thy fathers have known.
Now I'm going to show you what that's going with. A lot of times when you ask Christians what does that mean, they'll go to the precept about Zedekiah, about Babylon. But it's going beyond that. Remember what Moses is talking about, the last days. That's what he's really going with. We had many kings set up over us. When you look at the Dark Ages, like what we read in Spain, you don't think there was a king, we had a king with us in Spain? You don't think we had a king in Palestine? You don't think we had a king in Poland and Italy and Russia? We had kings over us. And when they got conquered, those kings went into captivity. Even the kings we had over, like we read about, it said Guinea. It read about Senegal. It said the Congo. We had kings in Africa as well. Those kings was conquered and enslaved and brought over too. Brought out through America and Britain. Okay? Read it one more time.
The Lord shall bring thee and thy king, which thou shalt set over thee, unto a nation which neither thou nor thy fathers have known.
That's this white man over here. So what y'all need to do when you're reading this, expand your mind. Because you may read, I know a lot of times brothers like to research and we can read what's the word called? Commentaries on what the scholars say about these particular verses. And it will always end with Babylon. It ends there, or it might go to Rome and it ends there. But now what happened after Rome? Because like Deacon Yawasa was bringing out, we overthrew Rome in 193 AD. What happened? And ushered in the Dark Ages. What happened biblically with our kings and our sons and our daughters and our mothers and fathers? Moses explaining right there. Read it one more time.
The Lord shall bring thee and thy king, which thou shalt set over thee, unto a nation which neither thou nor thy fathers have known. And there shalt thou serve other gods, wood and stone.
We serve other gods, wood and stone. Like the biggest god we serve, wood and stone, is Christianity, followed by Islam. Okay, so now the Most High brought us down to nothing. We have nothing. And believe me, when he conquered, I'm going to show you how this white man think. Would it be wise to bring, because remember, when you read the book, give me Babylon and Timbuktu, you got it? Give me the part about what we had when we was the group that was in Africa. It said artisans and architects. I'm going to show you something. Okay, what page you on, Deacon Nathan?
Page 90.
Now, I want you to listen. And the reason I want you to listen to this is because many times America dumbed us down when it comes to our people in Africa. They say we were dumb, we had no intelligence, we were unga bungas running around with grass skirts and javelins. But watch what it says in this book.
From Babylon Timbuktu, page 90. The black Jews had an advantage over the African tribes. They carried their culture, history, laws, and written records with them. This assured them a constant precedent for the development of a higher social organization.
So now he's talking about the black Jews in Africa. What about the black Jew Moors? Do you, for example, the Moors that built up Russia, when you look at the architecture alone throughout Europe, I'm talking about the Byzantine architecture. Can you pull up some of those? They look like ice cream cones. Do you know scholars and draftsmen say that this architecture cannot be replicated, cannot be duplicated? They don't know how this was done. The intricacies of it. Show me some more. Show me some more. Okay, y'all see how intricate it all looks? They said they don't know how they did it. They don't know how they did it. So do you think that the people that did this, the Moors that did this, wasn't ignorant, dumb people? You've got to be kidding me. Now let's go back to from Babylon to Timbuktu. Let's continue reading on. You're in that last paragraph right there, right?
Because of the development.
Wait, where are you? I don't know where you're at.
Page 90, the last paragraph.
Okay.
Because of the development of a higher social organization, because of the stability of the black Jewish culture, the Jews are not absorbed into the monotonous population. In fact, the Jews absorbed some of the native tribes. The Jews made use of every opportunity. They were an industrious and skillful people. In the Jewish Ghanaian states were found kings, princes.
That's in Ghana. Go ahead.
Princes, governors, generals, secretaries, treasurers, revenue agents, judges, architects, engineers, doctors, historians, language interpreters, mathematicians, jewelers, sculptors, masons, carpenters, painters of art, goldsmiths, leather workers, potters, armorers, saddlers, blacksmiths, agriculturalists, etc.
So notice what I want y'all to see right there. These people, I'm talking about the upper echelon. Now this was, although he's identifying Ghana here, remember you have blacks in Spain, Britain, Poland, Russia. Remember, in order, if you, I want you to think for a second, think. If you were the slave master of a ship, would you keep, how many slaves fit on the ship? Give me a number. Okay, let's say 300. And you got them over here. Let's say you bring them over. Would you keep that group, let's say from Ghana, let's say they all come from, would you keep them together? Why? Huh? They could what? They could conspire together. So you had to do what? If you were a wise slave master, what would you do? You would separate them by language and things of that nature. You would not, and especially the real smart ones, don't, because they will do what? They'll cause an uprising. So you said, listen, these real smart ones here, cut the what's that when you can't speak? They cut something. Take your tongue out. This is the things they did. So when the Most High opens our mind to show us the evil this man did to us, this is gonna make all our heads spin. I kid you not. But we're just now scratching the surface of all the history that the Most High wants to show us. Now, okay, let's get into the nitty gritty. Give me John 10:22. Oh, I'm sorry. Did we finish Deuteronomy 28:68? No, we didn't. Read that for me. I'm sorry. I didn't write none of this down. I'm just going off the hip.
Deuteronomy 28, verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with...
The word Egypt means bondage. Read it again.
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
In Revelation 11:11, remember it said, and their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and what? Egypt. That's saying the same thing here in Deuteronomy 28:60. Read that again.
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again.
So the Egypt is spiritually called Egypt, like we read in Revelation 11:11. Read it again.
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
With what?
Ships.
You know, I always check commentators what Esau writes about verses like that. You know, many commentators never comment on that verse. I read somewhere that Jehovah's Witness said, oh, this is talking about when Rome conquered the Israelites and put them on slave ships. It goes beyond that. Read that again.
And the Lord shall...
And Rome didn't conquer all 12 tribes and put them on slave ships. Go ahead.
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you.
Meaning no man shall redeem us. So, with that, we went into captivity. 1 Kings chapter 8, Solomon prophesied about that same thing and said they must bethink themselves in the land of their enemies and do what? Repent. That's what he prophesied that we must do. John, the Revelator, saw in Revelation 11:11 that we would stand upon our feet and great fear would fall upon them which saw us. Us purchasing this building here is just the beginning of standing on our feet. This is just the beginning. It's going beyond just being on a corner preaching. That's good. That's the foundation. We're going to always do that. But now we're going to start making moves in society to help our people. That's what I want you to understand. Now, give me John 10:22.
The book of John, chapter 10, verse 22. And it was at Jerusalem, the feast of the dedication, and it was winter. And Jesus walked in the temple in Solomon's porch.
You know, you ask a Christian to explain that, they can't. Christians cannot ask them what is the feast of dedication that Christ celebrated, that he kept. Christians cannot answer it. That's why you can only find that first and foremost in the books called the Apocrypha, which is in the book of Maccabees. Okay, what you got, Aithan? Okay, come on. Aithan got something for us.
Yeah, it says here. This is page 110, Babylon Timbuktu. It says the Moors were known for more than just conquest.
The Moors. Now remember the word Moors just means blacks. Go ahead.
While the remaining part of Europe was in a state of ignorance, the Spanish people took advantage of the knowledge of the black Moors. During the Moorish rule, many other capitals of Europe were mere hamlets, but Cordova, the capital of Spain, was a booming city. It is said that after dark, one could...
Wait. The remaining part of Europe that was in ignorance was the Caucasus Mountains of Georgia, Russia. That's what I wanted to say. Read the verse again, the whole paragraph.
The Moors were known for more than just conquest. While the remaining part of Europe was in a state of ignorance, the Spanish people took advantage of the knowledge of the black Moors. During the Moorish rule, many other capitals of Europe were mere hamlets, but Cordova, the capital of Spain, was a booming city. It is said that after dark, one could walk many miles in Cordova and never pass through a street not lighted by public lights. When a person walked out after dark in London, he had to carry a candle or lantern with him to illuminate his path and had to wear high shoes to walk through the thick mud that often covered the roads. Jump to the point. It says, the palace of the Moorish sultan or caliph was far greater in beauty, comfort, and wealth than any of the castles of the medieval kings. The Moors used extremely highly polished marble in their construction. The sides of the walls were patiently carved, and the floors were made with various decorations called mosaics. It is said that the Moors were masters in mosaic work. Get to the point. the Moors were wearing silks, linens, cotton cloth.
Wait, look at that. See that second, the third, go down, down. See that? It says the Arabs and Moor were known not only for their handicraft, but also for their science. The reason I wanted you to look, it's separating Arabs from Moors.
Right.
So, because many times you ask our people who are the Moors, they say Arabs. Two different groups of people, two different races.
One more. Page 119, real quick. Just one more. This is
Look at the bottom. I like this. It says they established, what's that word?
Oh, academies and
universities
for the rich. And there are many free schools.
You see
schools.
There were excellent libraries. So when y'all be thinking, oh, the Moors was just some ignorant, them black people was just dumb, you had, go ahead,
Page 119. Yeah, buildings. I'm going to get there right now. Page 119. When they was enslaved, when they were being persecuted during the Roman and Arab persecution, show what they did. This is page 119. It says, the Jews had built compartments 3 and 4 stories underground, containing a population of 30,000. Gabi says that Hes Warteg visited their cities of Beni Abbas, Jobel, Nufusa, Yehud, Abbas, to the point, they had shop stores, schools, and synagogues all underground. The achievements of these Jews prove what a persecuted society can do under adverse conditions. These Jews had a foundation to build on, unlike other persecuted people. They had their history, culture, laws, language, and skills. While in captivity, they built schools. In captivity. Underground, 3 to 4 stories.
That's where you read that? I mean, what's the area that was in?
Page 119.
No, what's the area that
this was
these...
in it says, hold on.
The reason why I asked that question, and if you don't, because I know it's not the area that I'm thinking of, but I'm going to parallel it.
The Fusa mountain range, because of Roman persecution.
Okay.
Is.
So speak about, perhaps it's talking about the catacombs.
Yeah, it is.
That's why I asked him, because the catacombs, and when I was bringing up that history about when we were, when Jerusalem was conquered in 70 A.D., and the Romans had came into Jerusalem to destroy it. You can read the history in Luke and in Psalms, I think it's 79, when the atrocities and the temples and everything was overthrown and destroyed. The group of us that stayed there, because Christ told us to leave, he said, when you see the army surrounding Jerusalem, then know that the time of destruction is near. And those that be on the outside don't come in, and those who are in Jerusalem leave. But you know, there's some of us didn't want to leave. Some of us are going to stay and fight and said, no, we ain't going anywhere. So we didn't listen to that warning that Christ gave. So when the Romans came in, the ones of us that they didn't kill, like when you read in 79 Psalms, and left our bodies on the ground without, and leave none to, they didn't bury our dead or anything.
Africa.
The ones that they,
Africa.
Okay, so that's where that's at. So now I'm talking about the catacombs. The ones of us that remained to fight, we were captured and brought into Rome. And while we were in Rome, like what you was reading, there was catacombs and 600 miles of underground burial cities throughout Rome, where the Israelites used to hide, because the Romans were bringing us and dragging us into the arenas to fight the lions and the tigers and the bears and all that. So we had places of refuge. And in these places of refuge, you'll find a lot of these things that you was reading about, which we were doing in Africa as well. But while we were down there, we were drawing pictures of ourselves, pictures of our forefathers, Moses, David, Job, Daniel, and the lions. Then all them things are all over the walls over there. So again, that goes to your point about the greatness that what a persecuted people can do once they have their history with them. Right. And that's the point that I'm bringing out about the catacombs.
So Deacon Anton, where was that at? What you were reading? Where was it at?
On page 119.
No, where?
Oh, this is the first paragraph.
No. Was it in China?
Oh, Africa. I'm sorry, Africa.
Okay, so the reason I wanted you to say that, because all that stuff you read, we don't see that today. When you look up Africa and all that, it's like dust and jungle. You don't really see what we're reading here. So what does that prove that the white man did over there? Destroyed it totally. Like when you read in History of the American Indians, it talks about them having cities on this side of the world. But you don't see that throughout North America. They portrayed American Indians run around with deer skin. But when you read the history, it says they had diamonds in their clothes. But like, what clothes? I'm looking at drawings of them naked and with spears. That's how the white man plays games on us, to make us think our history is nothing. Okay? Y'all understand what I'm saying?
And that effect carries all the way up to the day where some of us think that we cannot organize to the point to get a building. Still believe that we can't do anything.
Yeah, man, but Bishop, we have moved our poem. It's just like chess game. Right. We have moved our poem more faster now. Now this is a school poem putting up. We have a lot more project coming in. Then if we can do this one, we can do much more. You understand?
And this shows that Israel, even through persecution, always were innovative. They didn't just sit around just by observation. They were always focused on educating the people all the time. That's why I read again, it says they had shops, stores, schools, and synagogues. Those are bases of business and education. Israel was always innovative and never ever sitting still, regardless of any conditions they were in. They were always busy and never sitting around doing nothing. Israel is a people that's always on the move. The train was always moving with them, whether through Roman persecution or Arab persecution.
Exactly. Get 1 Maccabees 4:55. So we had mentioned earlier about the Feast of Dedication. I made the point by saying Christians can never explain that without going into the book of the Apocrypha. 1 Maccabees 4:55 down. So this is the last day of the feast. It closes out tomorrow at sundown. This is the last day, but here's what happened. 1 Maccabees 4. Let's start at verse 54.
1 Maccabees chapter 4, verse 54. Look at what time and what day the heathen had profaned it, even in that was it dedicated with songs and citherns and harps and cymbals.
So the same day that the temple was destroyed was the same exact day, many years later, that the temple was an altar was rededicated to the Most High. That's why it says, look at what time and what day the heathen had profaned it. Even in that was it dedicated with songs and citherns and harps and cymbals. So the same day it was destroyed was the same day it was rededicated to the Lord. Read.
Then all the people fell upon their faces, worshiping and praising the God of heaven, who had given them good success.
Good success. And that's what we want in these last days. Good success. Go ahead.
And so they kept the dedication of the altar 8 days.
So the dedication of the altar is the same holiday we read about in John chapter 10, verse 22. Read verse 56 again.
And so they kept the dedication of the altar 8 days, and offered burnt offerings with gladness, and sacrificed the sacrifice of deliverance and praise. They decked also the forefront of the temple with crowns of gold, and with shields, and the gates and the chambers they renewed, and hanged doors upon them. Thus was there very great gladness among the people, for that the reproach of the heathen was put away. Moreover, Judas and his brethren, with the whole congregation of Israel, ordained that the days of the dedication of the altar should be kept in their season from year to year by the space of 8 days, from the 25th day of the month Caslu, with mirth and gladness. At that time also they builded up the Mount Zion with high walls and strong towers round about, lest the Gentiles should come and tread it down, as they had done before. And they set there a garrison to keep it, and fortified Bethsarah to preserve it, that the people might have a defense against Idumea.
So we set up a defense against Idumea, which was adjacent to our land. From there, go to Daniel 11:31. Daniel 11:31 talks about the Feast of Dedication, but it's written as a parable. So many times Christians don't understand Daniel, so they leave it alone. But that's what it's talking about.
The book of Daniel, chapter 11 and verse 31. And arms shall stand on his part, and they shall pollute the sanctuary of strength, and shall take away the daily sacrifice, and they shall place the abomination that maketh desolate.
That's what you read about. We read this last week about the abomination of desolation. This is what Daniel is prophesying would happen. And remember, Daniel was under Babylonian and Persian captivity. Okay? I mean, Babylon and Medes came in first. Read that again.
Verse 31. An arm shall stand on his part, And they shall pollute the sanctuary of strength, and shall take away the daily sacrifice. And they shall place the abomination that maketh desolate.
That's when they sacrificed swine on the altar. They put images of Jupiter in the temple. The harlots ran and they had sex with women all in the temple. Go ahead.
Verse 32. And such as do wickedly against the covenant shall he corrupt by flattery.
That's what you read in 1 Maccabees around chapter 1 and 2, where it says certain Israelites made an agreement, a covenant with Rome, to bring in exercises, covenant of exercise gymnasiums, to bring the Israelites under the rule of Rome. Go ahead.
But the people that do know their God shall be strong and do exploits. And they that understand among the people shall instruct many.
This was Mattathias, his sons, and the Assyrians. Again, when it says, and they, it says, they that, but the people that do know their God shall be strong and do exploits, begins with Mattathias, his sons, and the Assyrians. And they that understand among the people shall instruct many. Go ahead.
Yet they shall fall by the sword, and by flame, by captivity, and by spoil many days.
So we were getting put to death by Rome. Go ahead.
Now when they shall fall, they shall be hoping with a little help.
The little help was Judah Maccabees and his brothers. Go ahead.
But many shall cleave to them with flatteries. And some of
Greece. I'm sorry. I said Rome by accident. It's Greece. I apologize. Greece. Thank you. Read that again. I'm sorry.
Now when they shall fall, they shall be hoping with a little help.
That's Judah Maccabees and his brothers.
But many shall cleave to them with flatteries.
Right. The Romans were, the Greeks were trying to flatter them. Then you had Rome in 1 Maccabees 8 trying to make an agreement with them. Go ahead.
And some of them of understanding shall fall, to try them, and to purge, and to make them white.
Meaning, when it says to make them white, it means pure. It don't mean to change the color of their skin. Go ahead.
Even to the time of the end, because it is yet for a time appointed.
It is yet for a time appointed.
Shalom, Israel. I'm Elder Nathaniel of Israel United in Christ. YouTube likes to shut our channels down, as some of you have noticed, ever so often. Subscribing to join IUIC will assure you will always stay connected to our YouTube accounts. We want to do our best to make sure this truth gets out. Please click and join our subscriber YouTube channel called Join IUIC to stay linked to all of our videos. So again, please make sure you subscribe to this Join IUIC channel to get your latest updates from all our YouTube channels. Shalom.